Mr. Murray Bruce, Chairman, Silverbird Group, to now make a statement. Please put your hands together for this magic maker, Mr. Ben Murray Bruce.
Thank you very much. All protocols observed. Let me say how honored and humbled I am to be here, to be in the presence of former heads of state, generals, governors, past and present, as we try to celebrate the Silverbird Man of the Year contest, the posthumous awards, Living Legends Award, and the Man of the Year competition. But let me also explain to you the difficulties we have in putting an event like this together. Nigeria as a nation do not celebrate their history. Nigeria as a nation do not honor their heroes. It is as if we are a nation without heroes. The other day I made a speech. A 24-year-old girl came up to me and he said, "Did we fight a civil war?" She did not know. She didn't know we fought a civil war because our history books do not talk about the civil war. You cannot die in battle, divide the country, and we do not document our history. It is fundamentally wrong. It is also wrong for leaders of Nigeria at the federal and state level not to be conscious of the fact that they owe a responsibility to its citizens to document what they do. In the 80s, Emeka Omeriwa was Minister of Information. And he asked me and a group of others to look at the cultural policy of Nigeria. At that time, I went to the Film Corporation of Nigeria. Buhari had just been overthrown by Babangida. And as I looked at the folks at the Film Corporation of Nigeria, in those days, you document the presidency through film, not video. Not on television, but on film. And the only way you know what is happening in the country is you go to a cinema, and before the movie begins, it tells you, for those of you who remember, what happened the day before by the president or the governor. That is the only way we found out. Television was 3 to 4 hours a day. And I saw this guy, and there were thousands of feet of tape of General Buhari's presidency. And I said to him, "What will you do with this tape?" He said, "I will not edit it." And I said, "Why?" He said, "Because General Buhari had been overthrown by Babangida, and therefore we have a new government. And the new government will not tolerate me editing the tapes of a former leader." 20 years later, the entire history of Buhari as president is destroyed. You cannot find 1 minute of visuals of his presidency unless it was done by the BBC or the ITV. It is gone forever. So the history of his presidency is gone. Gowon was president at a very critical time in our lives. As a child growing up, I saw his wedding to Victoria on television. I was fascinated by that wedding because of the crossing of the swords by the Navy. And Vice Admiral Way was the best man at the wedding. It was the only time I went to a wedding. I watched a wedding on television live on a Saturday afternoon by a president of a country. That tape doesn't exist. The tapes of your visit, General Gowon, to the Queen doesn't exist. The tapes of the Civil War that you fought, General Danjuma, doesn't exist. We do not have the archives. When I was Director General of the Nigerian Television Authority, the first thing I did in 1999, I said, "Give me the tapes of Nigeria." Village Headmaster, Cochradon, all those tapes, all destroyed. Not one single record was kept in the archives of the Nigerian Television Authority. All gone. Now, we sit here, and I did this on purpose. I wanted to document the history of Nigeria with our leaders, past and present, so you can see it. It was in black and white, that is fine. But most of the time, you couldn't find it. It didn't exist. To get it, we called a company in England. He said if we paid £1 million, he could give us some tapes. Tapes that were ours, that we shot, we cannot find, and we had no access to. Now, I look at leaders. I spoke to President Obasanjo as president, and I told him that we must have a presidential library for every single head of state. Him and I had a disagreement, and that wasn't done. And as long as you do not have your presidential libraries, and you do not preserve your works, the generation after you cannot understand what you went through as a president or a leader. They have a right, and you have an obligation to let the next generation know, good and bad, what you went through as leaders of this country. It is not your choice. It is not your choice to rewrite history. It is not your choice to decide what we read or write. You have an obligation to document it. We watch the Discovery Channel of the Second World War and Hitler. You can watch videotapes of the First World War, 1918. You can watch the Korean War on tape. the entire length and breadth of the Korean War. You can watch the Japanese invasion. You can watch the Japanese destruction. But we cannot see the civil war that took place 30 years ago. It is not right. Governor Akpabio, you document your governorship. It is right. You document it. But the question is, do you preserve it? If you document it, do you document it for yourself or you document it for the state? We have a right to know what you did as governor 20 years from now. 20 years from now. You come up here to receive the Lifetime Achievement Award. We will ask you that question. 20 years from now, if those tapes are not preserved, and there are professional way to preserve the tape in a constant room temperature, you cannot record it and leave it in a bookshelf or in a store and do not preserve the works. It will be destroyed. The fact that you shot it is not the same as preserving it. What does that cultural policy teach us in this country? We do not preserve our history. It is wrong. We have an obligation to preserve our history as leaders. And we have a responsibility to those who want to learn about the past, good and the bad of our leaders. Whether you're a head of state, you're a minister, or you're a governor, or you're a commissioner. I wanted to set up a museum on my own. I could not find footage. I wanted a museum of all 36 states. I could not find footage. I wanted a museum of the history of Nigeria. I could not find footage. And when I was at NTA, I commissioned a project on the Civil War. And as I did the project, 4 of the people who interviewed died. And they took with them a treasure of information we could not take over. Major General Philip Effiong, Colonel Trimnell, Nkokondem. Who cannot forget the voice of Nkokondem on Radio Biafra as he insulted the federal government on a daily basis, and it was the most amazing radio program to listen to during the Civil War. But he died, and his voice was never recorded, and he had the most amazing voice for Radio Biafra. He's gone. We interviewed Ojukwu because Ojukwu was ready to speak, but he asked a lot of questions. He raised issues about General Gowon, but General Gowon, you did not speak. He raised issues about General Basanjo. General Basanjo did not respond. General Danjuma, you've accomplished great things in your lifetime, but you owe the nation one thing: your memoirs. All of you who have accomplished great things, you owe us your memoirs. It is not by choice. It is not by choice. And sometimes when we document history, we do it upside down. When Abacha overthrew Shonekong, I was watching NTA that day. Abacha's speech came first, and he said Shonekong resigned, so I'm taking over the government. Then Shonekong's speech came after and said I had resigned. The order of things would be Shonekong resigning and Abacha taking over the government. But they mixed up the whole process. And this is the problem. They can't even get the math right. I have been involved and have witnessed several military coups, and I understand the game. In 79 and 83, I voted for Awolowo for president of Nigeria. People ask me why, and the answer is simple. In the interview I saw of Awolowo, he said something that really touched me. He said they fought the Civil War without borrowing 1 penny abroad. I could not believe it. They did not borrow 1 penny abroad. General Gowon did not borrow 1 penny abroad to prosecute the Civil War for 30 months. If a commissioner of finance, as they were called in those days, could prosecute a war for 30 months without borrow a penny abroad, he deserves to be president of Nigeria. And so I voted for him. The fact that he lost is irrelevant. I ran for office myself. The fact that I'm not governor is irrelevant. When you take a principal position and you take part in politics, to participate is as important as winning. Because when you participate, you raise issues. When you raise issues, the issues become serious. When they become serious, you take a position. We celebrate greatness. We celebrate greatness today. Akpabio, Dangote, Man of the Year. 20 years from now, they will be receiving Lifetime Achievement Awards. We need to document it. Chief Shonekong, Kingsway Stores, the most amazing supermarket chain in all of Nigeria, collapsed. There is no documented evidence as to why that happened. So business schools can read about why Kingsway Stores collapsed. Chief Shonekong, you owe it to us to let us know what happened to Kingsway Stores. Governor Akpabio, you owe it to us to tell us about your success. Yes, you talk, but we want to know there's something about you we don't know. There's got to be something we don't know. We've had governors before. They had money before. They didn't perform. There's something about you we don't know. You need to tell us. If you don't tell us, we need to find out. Mrs. Akpabio, you need to tell us. There's something about him we need to know. Aliko Dangote, You lost somebody precious in your family today. And I know you cannot be here. And our hearts go out to a family member who you lost today. And I know a member of your team will receive your award on your behalf today. And we salute you and we thank you. Ladies and gentlemen, it is not my day and it is not my time. All I care about is my country and how we promote the goodness of our people. It is not my responsibility to run down a Nigerian. It is not my time or my responsibility to make people feel bad about who they are and what they are. I am only committed and concerned about the greatness of my country and the cohesiveness of our people. Thank you very much and enjoy the show.
Bless you. Ben Murray Bruce.